Hello, everyone. Grab a cup of tea and get comfortable because today's episode is going to take us somewhere magical, high up in the mountains of Tibet.
That sounds poetic already. What are we talking about? The Himalayas?
Even more mysterious, Mount Kailash. Have you heard of it?
Oh, yes. The sacred mountain that no one climbs, right? The one surrounded by legends and spiritual stories.
Exactly. There's something about it that feels timeless. People call it the center of the world.
Which is funny because on a map it's just a remote mountain. But in people's hearts, it's almost like a doorway to something divine.
I love that image, a doorway. And that's what we'll talk about today. The power of Mount Kailash, its history, its legends, and why thousands of people still travel there every year.
And we'll also get practical. How to get there, how much it costs, and what to expect if you ever decide to visit.
Yes, we'll mix the mystical with the realistic.
Perfect balance. But first, if you enjoy natural English conversations like this, don't forget to subscribe. It really helps us keep creating for you.
All right, so George, let's start with the big question. What is Mount Kailash?
Geographically speaking, it's a mountain in western Tibet, part of the Trans-Himalaya Range. It's about 6,600 meters high. Not the tallest peak in the region, but definitely one of the most significant.
Why so significant, though? It's not Everest. It's not famous for climbing.
Because no one climbs it, and that's exactly why it's sacred. For thousands of years, people from 4 different religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and the Bone tradition, have considered Kailash holy.
4 religions? That's incredible.
Yeah. For Hindus, it's believed to be the home of Lord Shiva, the god of transformation and destruction. Though destruction here means more like to let go of what no longer serves you.
That's actually really beautiful.
For Buddhists, Mount Kailash represents Mount Meru, the cosmic center of the universe. For Jains, it's the place where their first spiritual leader achieved liberation. And for the Bone followers, it's where the founder of their ancient faith descended from heaven.
Wow, so it's like a spiritual crossroads.
Exactly. A meeting point of faiths. It's one of those rare places where beliefs overlap rather than compete.
That's probably why people describe it as peaceful, not just beautiful.
Yes, they say it has a kind of energy, not something you see, but something you feel.
You know, I once read that Mount Kailash is called the Stairway to Heaven in Tibetan texts.
That sounds dramatic, but fitting.
I think so too. And yet, no one's allowed to climb it.
That's right. Out of respect, it's forbidden. Even professional mountaineers avoid it. There's a story about a climber who once asked permission from the Dalai Lama, and he said something like, if people climb it, the gods will leave.
I love that. The idea that some things are not meant to be conquered, just admired.
Exactly. It's sacred ground. The locals say that only someone completely pure could reach the top, and that person wouldn't need ropes. They'd simply rise.
That gives me chills.
Yeah, it's that kind of story, half legend, half faith.
Have you ever thought of going there yourself?
I've thought about it, yes, but it's not an easy trip. The altitude alone is a challenge. Most of the area is above 4,500 meters.
That's serious. You'd need time to acclimatize, right?
Exactly. You can't just fly in and start trekking. You have to adapt slowly.
So, how do people actually get there?
Usually, travelers start either from Lhasa, the capital of Tibet, or from Kathmandu in Nepal. There are guided tours that take you by car or bus for several days across mountain passes before reaching a small town called Darchen. That's the base for the pilgrimage.
Darchen. I've seen photos. A tiny town surrounded by endless sky.
That's the one. From there, pilgrims start the kora, the sacred walk around Mount Kailash.
What's that like?
The kora is about 52 kilometers long. It usually takes 2 or 3 days. People walk clockwise around the mountain, praying or meditating as they go.
That sounds so spiritual and physically demanding.
Definitely. You pass the highest point at about 5,600 meters, the Doma Law Pass. The air is thin, the weather unpredictable, but many say it's the most powerful experience of their life.
You know, I love that it's not about reaching the top, but about the journey around it. It feels symbolic, like life itself.
That's exactly how many describe it, a circle of transformation. Every step is a small letting go.
I like that phrase, a circle of transformation.
Some pilgrims even do it by full-body prostrations. They stretch flat on the ground, stand up, take a step, and do it again. It can take them weeks to finish, but for them, it's a spiritual offering.
That's incredible. The dedication, the humility.
Yeah, and it's not just Tibetans. People from India, Nepal, Bhutan, even Western travelers come to do the kora.
So it's not only religion, it's humanity.
Exactly. The mountain unites people beyond language or belief.
Okay, now I'm curious. How much would this kind of trip cost? Because it sounds like a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
It definitely is, and your wallet will agree.
Oh no, how bad is it?
Well, since independent travel in Tibet is restricted, most visitors join guided tours. A typical 2-week tour from Nepal or Lhasa can cost anywhere between $2,500 and $5,000 US, depending on group size and comfort level.
That's a lot, but I guess it makes sense. It's not exactly an easy location.
True. The permits alone can be expensive and logistics are complicated. High altitude, limited accommodation, fuel, food, guides.
Right. You're paying for remoteness as much as for the view.
Exactly. And it's important to travel respectfully. You're not going to a tourist attraction, you're visiting a sacred site.
That's such an important reminder. I think travelers sometimes forget that spirituality isn't a photo opportunity.
Yes, and in places like Kailash, the locals notice your attitude more than your accent.
That should be on a t-shirt. Respect is the best language.
I'd wear that.
What's the weather like there? I imagine it's freezing.
It can be. The best time to visit is between May and September. That's when the snow melts enough for safe trekking. Days are sunny, but nights drop below zero. You'll definitely need layers.
So expensive, challenging, but deeply meaningful.
That's the summary. It's not for everyone, but for those who go, it's unforgettable.
You know, this reminds me of something my Tibetan student once said. You don't go to Kailash. Kailash calls you.
That's perfect. Some places are like that. You don't choose them, they choose you.
Maybe that's the real power of the mountain.
You know, Anastasia, every time I read about Kailash, I realize it's not just a mountain. It's almost a storybook.
Yes, a story written by wind and faith. What's your favorite legend about it?
There's one that always fascinates me. The story of the great yogi Milarepa and his rival Naro Bonchung.
Oh, that already sounds like something from a myth.
It is. So the two were both powerful spiritual masters. They argued about whose faith was true. To prove it, they decided to race to the top of Mount Kailash.
A spiritual race. I like that.
Yes, not your usual marathon. Narabangchang used magic to fly up on a drum, but Milarepa waited until the sun rose, then rode a beam of sunlight to the summit.
That's so poetic. Flying on sunlight.
And when he reached the top, he just touched the peak and came back down, out of respect. Since then, it's believed no one should climb Kailash again.
That says everything about the culture. Humility, even in victory.
Exactly. The message isn't I conquered, but I bowed.
Beautiful. Pause. Are there other stories?
Oh, many. Some say the mountain's 4 sides represent the 4 faces of Lord Shiva, facing the 4 directions. Others believe it's a giant crystal, the axis of the world.
The axis mundi, right? The center of everything.
Yes, the axis mundi, the place where heaven and earth meet.
You know, the idea that the world has a center, that there's one sacred place holding it all together, it's kind of comforting.
It gives people a sense of connection, of order. In a chaotic world, it's like saying, here, the universe is still.
I love that. And yet, for the locals, it's not philosophy, it's real.
Yes, for them, Kailash has living energy. They believe the mountain breathes, and if you're quiet enough, you can feel its pulse.
That sounds mystical.
It does. Many travelers describe feeling unusually calm there, like time slows down.
Maybe that's what sacredness really means. Not magic, but presence.
I think you're right. Being present is the real miracle.
You're getting philosophical today.
The mountain does that to you, even from thousands of kilometers away.
True. Pause. I remember reading about pilgrims who travel for weeks just to walk around it once.
Yes, the kora. Some even complete it dozens of times in their lifetime. They believe that one full kora erases the sins of a lifetime.
That's such a powerful belief.
And it's not just belief, it's transformation through action. When you walk, breathe, pray, and endure, something changes inside.
The mountain becomes a mirror.
Exactly. That's a lovely way to put it.
You know, if I ever go there, I'd probably cry halfway and laugh the other half.
That sounds about right. The mountain seems to bring out every emotion.
But that's what I love about travel, when a place teaches you more than a book ever could.
Absolutely. And Kailash is like a teacher without words.
You just have to listen.
Exactly.
Do people live near it, or is it completely remote?
There are small Tibetan villages scattered around, but it's mostly wilderness. The nearest main town is Darchen, which we mentioned earlier. It's where most pilgrims stay before starting the trek.
I imagine life there must be so different. Simple, quiet, maybe harsh, but full of meaning.
Yes, people there live close to nature, and time moves differently. The air, the light, even the silence, they shape you.
That's exactly what modern life lacks. Silence.
True, we fill every moment with noise, but there you can actually hear yourself think.
I sigh softly. Maybe that's part of its power, to remind you how small you are and how big life really is.
I couldn't have said it better.
Curious. So what do people usually expect when they go there, and what do they actually find?
Good question. Most expect beauty, mystery, maybe enlightenment. What they find is humility.
Quietly. Humility. That's not a souvenir you can buy.
No, but it stays with you forever.
Pause.
Some say that by the end of the kora, they don't feel like they've seen a mountain. They feel like they've met one.
Softly. That's powerful.
And sometimes people go thinking it'll change their life, but often it's quieter than that. It just changes the way they see life.
Reflectively. That's even deeper.
Yes, small shifts can last longer than big revelations.
Softly. I think every sacred place has that quiet wisdom.
True. You bring your questions to the mountain and somehow it answers, not in words, but in stillness.
You sound like a monk, George.
Just a peaceful tourist, maybe.
Either way, I like it.
You know, not everyone can handle the altitude or the rough terrain, but there are documentaries that capture it beautifully.
Oh, yes. I saw one where they showed the pilgrims walking in snow, spinning prayer wheels, chanting mantras. It was mesmerizing.
Yes, those sounds, the bells, the wind, they stay with you.
It's like every footstep becomes a prayer.
That's exactly what it is.
And I'd probably run out of breath and turn every prayer into, please let me reach the next rest stop.
That's still a prayer.
Fair point.
I think that's what makes the place special. It accepts both your holiness and your humanity.
Yes, both your spirit and your tired legs.
Exactly.
So let's be practical again. What should someone expect logistically? Accommodation, food, that sort of thing.
It's very simple. Basic guest houses or tents, often shared. The food is mostly Tibetan, zampa, noodles, soups. Don't expect luxury, but do expect kindness. Locals are very generous.
That's comforting. I think a smile and a bowl of soup in the cold can feel like heaven.
Yes, and that's part of the charm. You trade comfort for authenticity.
Simple living, deep meaning.
Exactly.
So, if you had to summarize, what's the real power of Mount Kailash?
I'd say it's the power to quiet you down, to remind you of the sacred in everyday life.
Beautiful answer.
And you?
For me, it's the power of connection between people, between faiths, between silence and sound.
Yes, the invisible thread that ties everything together.
Exactly. You know, George, it's fascinating. We've talked about so many details, but I feel the real magic of Mount Kailash isn't in facts or stories, it's in the feeling people bring back.
Exactly. Most of them don't come home talking about the altitude or the weather. They talk about silence, about how they suddenly felt small and somehow complete.
That's what makes sacred places so powerful. They don't teach through words, they teach through presence.
Right. And presence is something we've almost forgotten in the modern world. We rush, we scroll, we measure time in notifications, but in Kailash, time simply stops.
Maybe that's why people call it the center of the world, because for a few moments, you stop spinning.
That's a beautiful thought. There's something deeply human about walking around a mountain that everyone agrees is sacred, even when they don't share the same religion.
Yes, it shows that faith isn't about dividing, it's about belonging.
And maybe that's the hidden power of Kailash, to bring people together through silence.
I love that. So, friends, what about you? Have you ever been to a place that felt sacred, even if you couldn't explain why? Tell us in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yes, share your stories. The world feels smaller and kinder when we do.
All right, let's quickly go over a few expressions we used today so you can remember them.
We had sacred ground, meeting point of faiths, acclimatize, circle of transformation, axis mundi, living energy, being present, small shifts, simple living, and to bring people together.
Perfect. Try to use one or two of them next time you describe a special place. Maybe even say, "This cafe is my sacred ground."
I like that. Sacred ground with good coffee.
For you, that's the true pilgrimage.
Absolutely.
If you liked this episode, subscribe, leave a like, and share it. It really helps our little studio grow.
And thank you for spending time with us today. We're grateful you're part of this journey.
Thanks for being part of our little English adventure. Keep learning, keep smiling.
Wherever you are, have a peaceful day.